welcome back grade 12. Today's lesson is going to continue with the drawing layout for the table lamp. We're going to be applying some dimensions today, and we're going to be looking at applying machine shop tolerances to those dimensions, the same ones that we're seeing in the hub in the table lamp sketch, machine shop sketches. So we're going to start with the leg, which is the most simple part, and we're going to be applying this upper tolerance of 0.0015 to the 0.25 diameter that press fits into the base reamed hole. And we're going to be cleaning some of this other dimensioning up that we see here as well, and we're going to make it look a little nicer as what we're used to doing in our previous work and in previous years the same. So let's click into the drawing, and I'm going to make sure when I grab dimension that I'm selecting fraction ANSI style, because I set this up already when I was working on my assembly view. So I'm going to begin. I'm going to dimension the diameter, not the diameter, but the length of the length of the diameter that's going to be pressing into the lamp. So that is 5/16. So I'm going to drop that here for now. Hit OK, and I'm going to dimension from here to here, and this is going to want to send that 1/2 inch value into my extension line. So what I can do is I can just drop it into this position for now, right click, left click OK, and I can grab the value and I can drag it off to the right side where it's out of my way, like this, making sure that my arrowheads are chaining up together like they should, that this linear extension line is the same as what we see on the 5/16 dimension. We're going to continue on, grab dimension again, but it's going to default to by standard. So make sure that you're going back up and you're selecting default fraction ANSI. We're going to do the overall length next. Let's try this again. Right here. And we're going to take this dimension, make it into a fraction like this. And we're going to have to clean this up a bit. So this 1/2 inch is cutting into that extension line. So what we're going to do is just drag it off to the side a bit so it's out of the way, because it's not very clear to have it like this. It kind of breaks into both extension lines. There isn't really enough room for it. If I leave it like this, it's kind of sloppy. So I'm going to pull it out to the right. I'm just going to have it hang over that overall extension line on the right. So that looks okay. Like that, we're going to move on and do the front view. We're going to apply some diameter dimensions. So back to dimension, fraction ANSI, and we're going to click the outside diameter. We're going to try and line this up like we see here, and click. And then we're going to dimension the diameters. Now the diameters are not going to be fractions. These are going to be decimals because they're precise. So we're basically looking at this sketch as a guide. This has a precise tolerance on it. So it needs to be in 3-place decimal form. And this diameter also is precise with 3 decimal places. It's 0.375. So we're going to click back and we're going to work on this now. So we're going to switch to, well, we can run the dimension as a fraction first, but we got to switch it after the fact. So we can select this diameter, and I'm going to pull it down to be basically in a similar position to where the 1/2 inch is, like this. Hit OK, and I'm going to select this dimension. First, I'm going to exit, right click, left click OK. I'm going to select it and go and change this back to by standard, which is going to give me decimal value. then I can double click this. And while I'm in the Edit Dimension Manager, I can click to Precision and Tolerance, and I can up the primary unit. So I want this to be 3 decimal places, so I can select primary unit under Precision, and I can add a decimal place to it. But that's going to be good enough for that dimension. So once I've done that, I can hit OK, and that's going to exit me out of there. Now I have to apply the other one, which is going to give me the upper tolerance. So we're going to go again, dimension. This can be a standard dimension. We're going to select that 0.25 diameter. And we're going to have to make some minor edits in terms of spacing once I finish this. So I'm just going to drop this here for now. And again, I'm going to up the primary unit like I did with the last one. So I'm going to go into primary unit. I'm going to up it 1 value. And this time, I'm going to be looking deeper into the precision and tolerance menu. And if I just drag this menu out of the way so I can see more clearly, if I click down this list, you can see the tolerance values being applied. There's many different ways that we can do this. So what we want to use is a deviation here. So we're getting a plus value and a negative value, but we want to increase the decimal places on this. So what we're going to do is go into primary tolerance, not primary unit. Primary unit is the 0.250, so we're selecting primary tolerance, 1 lower. We're going to bring this to 4 decimal places, and here in the upper value box is where we can add our tolerance. So we're going to backspace 2 zeros, and we're going to type 1.5, and then we're going to hit OK. And that's going to apply that tolerance the way we want it. So this is the way it looks in the sketch. And we're basically going to be copying a lot of the dimensioning positions we see in that sketch, because a lot of them are quite well. And here it is here. If I click back, I can show it to you. So that should take care of the leg. So all we need to do now is just adjust this a little bit to make it look a little cleaner. So I'm going to bring this up to here. I want this to be roughly in the same position as the 1 1/16. And this one, I'm just going to, again, move it down a bit so I'm not crowding the dimension. And this one here, we're going to move like this. All right, and there is our dimensioning completed for the leg. The sketch also shows a fillet value of 1/4 inch radius that would go here. I don't think it's really needed to do that, because we know that the overall largest diameter is 1/2 inch, and because this is a perfect semicircle, I think it's a bit of over dimensioning to add the 1/4 inch radius here, but if you'd like to add it in, it's up to you. If you can do that if you'd like, but I'm not going to be concerned about it one way or the other. So moving on to the spindle, the section view, section BB that cuts through the hexagon, we need to know what size that is. It's shown here as a simple 3/4 inch dimension in height. So we're going to repeat that here. We're going to go dimension, make sure we select fraction, ANSI, and then we're going to click from top to bottom, and we're going to place that 3/4 inch dimension not too close, not too far, so about here is okay. And we're just going to hit OK, and we're going to finish that off. Now when it comes to the spindle, the way the spindle is dimensioned in length looks quite nice. So this, to me, this looks fine, and we're going to basically repeat this process that we see, except the only thing I don't like is we're going to leave one dimension out, right? Because when we show an overall length and we're showing a chain of dimensions underneath, it's normal to leave one out. Otherwise, we're over dimensioning. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to leave out the 1/8 dimension here after the Acme thread because it's the least most important, I think, to show here. So I'm basically just going to leave that one out. And all the other ones are very critical to show. So we're going to be adding some tolerances to the spindle as well. So let's switch back into the drawing. And all these lengths are going to be in fractional size, right? And I'm already set the fraction. So if I don't exit the command, I don't have to keep resetting it every time, right? So if I just keep staying in there, I can just keep clicking these lengths, and I don't need to keep picking fraction every time. So I'm going to be clicking the end, which press fits to the spindle, clicking to the start of the UNC thread, and I'm going to be bringing this up. I want this to go above the section B cutting line because I don't want to run into that as I do all my other lengths. So I just make sure that it's sitting higher like this. You could even bring it up to here. We just have to make sure we're being consistent as we do this. So click, I'm still in the same command, I'm going to keep going. We're going to find the length of that thread, 1.25 inches. We're going to chain it up to the 5/8. And we also have the length of the hex. Let's do that one next. So this is very simple. We're just going to keep going through. And I'm not going to do this 1/8 like I mentioned, so I'm just going to do the taper, the Morse taper length next. And this will be the last one. I'm just going to snap it. See that? It just wants to snap perfectly in line with that 1.25 dimension. Left click. Done. We also need to show an overall length, right? All views need to have an overall length listed, so we'll do that next. So one end to the other. This is a little close, so we'll bring it up to here. And there's our 6 7/8. Now next, we have to be able to identify these threads as well. So we've got an Acme thread, and we also have a number 3 Morse taper. So we're just going to basically do some leader text for this. So we're going to select leader text. We're going to click that taper. We're going to come down kind of a similar distance. We're just going to eyeball this to be similar to what we've done above in terms of our dimension spacing. And we're going to zoom in on this, make sure that leader is nice and horizontal. Click, right click, left click, continue, and now I have the opportunity to type what I want to type. So caps lock on. We're always going to be using capitals in all our notes and our drawings. I'm just going to type number 3 Morse taper. And we're going to hit OK. And that matches the same text size I'm using on my dimensions, right? If I wanted to bend this leader, I can still bend it. I could even adjust the height of this if I want. So if I'm not happy with its position, I can just edit it until I am happy with it. Moving on, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to identify that Acme thread. So we're just going to repeat this process again. So I'll pick this thread form, come down, keep that line horizontal, left click, left click, continue. And we're going to have to place the diameter symbol in here. So this is where we can find our insert symbol. We're going to hit diameter. We're going to type 1-1/4. And it gives me the option, a little menu pops up that says auto stack properties, convert it to a diagonal fraction. Yes, we want it to be diagonal. Hit OK, and then we're going to go a small x for multiplication, and then we're going to go 5, and we're going to type Acme. Like this. Now we didn't quite get our diagonal fraction the way we were expecting it to be, so we'll come back and we'll fix that a little later. So we're just going to try to finish this spindle off right now. And one more to do. So insert, again, diameter symbol, 1-1/8. What if we hit enable auto stacking? I think that's what I forgot to do the last time. Okay, so I'll fix that later. Times 7, and this is a unified national course thread. So U.N.C. Dot. Okay. So we're crowding up a bit here with this section, this bottom section cutting line, so we're just going to be pulling this down like we've done before, because we want to basically keep our spacing identical, right, in terms of looks, because drawings need to look nice and professional, right? So it doesn't look nice if we're not being consistent everywhere. If we're changing what we're doing all over the place, it's not going to look right. And I'm just going to fix this taper as well. All right, that looks good for now. And we also have to identify the chamfer on the end here. So that's 1/16 by 45 degrees. So it's going to be another liter text. And I could put this low, but I'll keep it up high just because I am going to have to add a diameter dimension to this, and I'm going to have to basically cut into an extension line one way or the other. So I'm just going to keep it up high like this. So I'm just going to reference where this 5/8 is, keep it consistent, click, draw my line, left click continue, and then this is going to be 1/16. Enable auto stack. Okay, and then times a small x, and then times 45 degrees. So we have to include this, the superscript of the degree symbol. That's where the diameter is. That's here. That's the degree symbol. Select it. Hit OK. And there it is. Finished. And the last thing we need to do on this particular view is tolerance the diameter that press fits into the spindle. It's a lower tolerance of 0.8750 and upper tolerance of 0.8763. So we'll dimension it in a standard form. Select these diameters. We're going to pull the dimension off. And again, we're going to up the primary unit to 4 decimal places. And then what we're going to do is find the appropriate tolerancing method. So we're going to go through the list until we find what we want. So what we have here is we got limits stacked. So we're going to also up the primary tolerance to 4 decimal places. We're going to leave the lower value as it is and up the upper value, and we're just going to edit that here in this editor to say 0.8763. 0.63. Okay. And then one thing I forgot to do with this is add the diameter symbol. So to do this, I'm going to click out of precision and tolerance. I'm going to click into text, backspace, and hit the diameter symbol, and that's going to place it in the center in front of those dimensions. Hit OK. We're just going to continue on and finish the spindle, the front view, and then I'm going to be ending the video at this time, and we're going to pick it up at another time. So this hole that is drilled right through, which would allow the electrical wiring to be fished through to the socket, is a Q drill. So I'm not going to, again, it's a letter size drill. We don't actually give it the numerical value. So again, it's going to be another one of those liter text dimensions. So we're going to select it, and we're going to just edit this. Actually, I'm going to redo that. I don't like how I snapped it. Okay. So again, liter text. And then just type Q and drill through. Just like that.